You've probably heard of Elizabeth Kolbert's Pulitzer Prize-winning book, The Sixth Extinction. It paints a pretty stark picture of a planet in crisis. So today, we're going to take her global framework and use it as a lens, to really understand what's happening right here in Taiwan and see how this massive worldwide event is playing out in our own backyard.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on this new age we're living in. Then, we'll dig into what's causing the whole crisis. From there, we're going to zoom in on Taiwan's unique ecosystems to see the direct impact. And finally, we'll talk about the tough choices that are staring us right in the face.
So this brings us to a really big question. We all know Earth has had mass extinctions before, right? So what makes this time around so different? Well, as we're about to see, this new age of extinction, it kind of breaks all the old rules. Well, according to Colbert and a whole lot of other scientists, the answer is a pretty sobering and resounding yes. But what makes this one so unique isn't just that it's happening, it's why it's happening. Just let that sink in for a second. For the first time in 4.5 billion years, a single species has become a geological force. We've become powerful enough to actually change the planet's chemistry and basically redirect the entire course of evolution. We're not just living through an extinction event, we are the extinction event. This right here shows a huge shift in scientific thinking. For the longest time, we thought of extinction in Darwin's terms, a slow, gradual process. But what's happening today isn't a marathon. It's much more like a meteor strike. It lines up with this idea of catastrophism, where things are disappearing so fast, almost all at once, that they just have no time to adapt. Okay, so if we're the cause, the human meteorite, as Colbert calls it, how exactly are we doing it? What are the actual mechanisms at play? Let's take a look at the specific ways we're leaving our mark on the planet. This idea is absolutely central to everything. The Anthropocene, the age of humans. It means we're in an era where natural forces aren't the main drivers of change on Earth anymore. We are. What we do, collectively, now runs the whole show. And really, the story of the Anthropocene is written in carbon. Back at the start of the Industrial Revolution, CO2 levels were pretty stable. For the next 150 years, they went up, sure, but it was a pretty slow climb. But then, something just went wild right around 1950. And this is that wild shift. Scientists call it the Great Acceleration. After World War II, just about every measure of human activity, population, the economy, you name it, just shot up, like a rocket. And the planet systems, like the CO2 in our atmosphere, had no choice but to follow. And the result of that great acceleration? A biological crisis. Species are now disappearing at a rate that's, at a bare minimum, 100 times faster than the normal, natural rate. To put that in perspective, it's like we've hit fast forward on extinction, compressing what should take centuries into just a few years. It's a pace that life on Earth just can't keep up with. So these are the three main weapons in the human meteorite's arsenal. We're changing the planet's chemistry with our emissions. We're physically shattering habitats, turning vast forests into tiny, isolated islands. And we're moving species all over the globe, unleashing invaders and diseases into ecosystems that have zero defenses. All right, let's bring this all back home. How do these huge global forces actually play out on a high mountain island like Taiwan, an island that's packed with so much unique and amazing biodiversity? This brings us to a really important concept for understanding why Taiwan is so vulnerable: double islandization. Think about it. Our species are already living on a geographical island, cut off by the sea. That's island number one. But then our own development, our roads, our cities, creates a second layer of isolation, chopping up forests into these tiny islands within the island. It traps populations and makes them incredibly fragile. And the beautiful emerald tree frog is a perfect and really worrying example of this. It's endemic. You only find it here. It doesn't travel far. It likes to stay put. So as we build roads through its home, we're literally cutting populations off from each other. And genetic studies are already showing that they're starting to drift apart, which is the very first step toward local extinction. So you can see exactly how the big global drivers show up here. Habitat fragmentation isn't some abstract concept. It's our dense network of mountain roads threatening that tree frog. Biological invasion becomes a real crisis with invasive plants like silver wattle just choking the life out of our native ecosystems. And of course,
Global climate change means stronger typhoons and bleached coral reefs right here on our doorstep. And here's the really tough part. Trying to fight back takes a massive, massive effort. To control an invasive species like silver wattle, we have to use our own geological force. Huge machines, constant clearing, just to try and undo the damage. And if we stop for even a second, it comes right back. It's a relentless, expensive battle with no clear end in sight. Okay, so given this really stark and complicated reality, what do? Where do we possibly go from here? This is where the science starts to meet philosophy and ethics. This quote from Gandhi just hits so hard. It gets right to the heart of the matter. This crisis isn't just about CO2 numbers or habitat loss. It's about our values as a society. In a high-consumption society like Taiwan, our constant push for more and more economic growth puts this relentless pressure on our own environment. This is a really important mental shift we have to make. The problem is so big and moving so fast that the idea of solving it completely, well, that's probably not realistic. So instead, a lot of scientists are pushing for a more humble goal, to ameliorate. It just means to lessen the impact, to slow down the rate of loss, and to save what we still can. And this is what amelioration actually looks like on the ground here in Taiwan. We can build wildlife corridors to help out the emerald tree frog. We can commit to that long, hard, expensive work of controlling invasive species. And we can start planning our cities and our farms to be more resilient to the climate changes that we know are coming. These are real, tangible things we can do. Ultimately, this is the profound thing that Colbert's work leaves you with. This isn't just another environmental problem. We, right now, in our lifetimes, are basically the editors of life's future. Our choices, our policies, what we buy, what we prioritize, are deciding which evolutionary doors will be slammed shut forever. The question for all of us is, what kind of future are we going to choose?